An adult child of a narcissist, Anna Valerius, says. Target's right. Self-defense. Your most fundamental right. Your most fundamental right, the right given to all living creatures be they man or beast, is the right to self-defense. A fundamental right is defined as any right that can be simultaneously claimed by all without infringing on another person's rights. Self-defense falls into this definition. Your right to protect yourself, your property, and your family can be exercised without infringing on another person's right to the same. The fundamental right to live is the basis of the fundamental right of self-defense. I contend that only a tyrant at heart will try to make a case that you do not have the right to self-defense. Narcissists are always tyrannical, which is why they will teach their children at the youngest age that the child has no right to self-defense. This is taught to the child through brainwashing techniques, which is why the child grows into an adult and still won't exercise their most basic human right. One of the hallmarks of self-defense is that you will use the minimum force necessary to eliminate the imminent threat. For example, if you stab someone 45 times, the police will not likely believe you were acting in self-defense. That kind of overkill is the hallmark of rage and hatred, not self-defense. We need to address the woefully rigid thinking of many Christians on this subject. They will cluck their tongues and mutter on about the need to turn the other cheek if they are forced to witness an abused individual try to assert their right to self-defense, even if that self-defense is merely in the form of walking away. Near as I can tell, when Christ issued instructions to walk an extra mile and turn the other cheek, the primary context is when an individual is under the power of a civil authority. The immediate context of his instructions were to not engage in retribution, eye for an eye. Retribution is quite different than self-defense. There is plenty of biblical instruction to defend the self and those in your care from evil by withdrawing from it. That is self-defense. There are numerous biblical examples of God's people going to war in order to defend life and country. Withdrawing from an evil person or situation is the use of the right to self-protection. Withdrawing, i.e. going no contact, is exercising the minimum force necessary to provide for one's self-defense. It isn't even force at all. The only force applied in going no contact is forcing that person to stop hurting you. Expect the narcissist to howl that you are doing something immoral by refusing all contact. Again, that is the roar of the frustrated tyrant. I can hear Christians still arguing against the idea, so I'll go a step further. Look at nature. If you truly believe that God created everything, then look at how He created all creatures with some ability to defend themselves. Some of the most apparently helpless creatures have advantages of stealth and camouflage at their disposal. What is camouflage but using pattern and color to deceive the predator's eye? Yes, even the God of heaven justifies the use of deception in order to protect the helpless from predation. Some creatures' self-defense come in the form of building holes, forts and dens. Hiding is usually a very effective form of self-defense and is seen all throughout nature. Look at the ways that certain animal mothers will protect their young. The use of teeth, claws, strength and fierce mien is unhesitatingly used to protect herself and her young. When a fierce mother bear feels her young are threatened, she will apply force unapologetically, and will stop applying force the moment she feels the threat is over. Yes, she may go overboard in our estimation, but she is an animal. We are moral beings in addition to being sentient. We can better gauge the level of force necessary to self-protect, which will rarely require bloodshed. Thankfully. Camouflage, hiding in plain sight, hiding in protective covering, or brute force. All these principles of self-defense are seen in every aspect of God's creation. The predators may also use these methods. Nevertheless, no creature is found without some built-in knowledge or ability to self-defense. That includes you. When you hear anyone arguing against the right for others to defend themselves from a threat to their person or property, you are witnessing the spirit of the tyrant. Resist tyranny. Never attempt to deprive yourself or others of the right to self-defense, otherwise you will be playing into the hands of the despot and risk imbibing of the spirit of the despot yourself if you insist on others not exercising their right to self-defense. If you have scruples against defending yourself, do not feel free to foist your scruples onto someone else. Have your scruples, but leave others alone to theirs. You can decide to be lunch for a predator, but your rights stop there. You have no right to demand others to willingly surrender themselves to be a predator's meal. Recognize the reality that the narcissist will never give you permission to defend yourself against them. Quit being confused as to your rights to self-defense when confronted by the threatenings and breathings against you by the narcissist for doing so. Is it reasonable to expect the despotic ruler to grant you the right to mount a defense against his capricious demands? Hardly. It is time to recognize your fundamental right to live, which is connected to your fundamental right to defend your life against threats. This is as true in the emotional, mental and spiritual realm as in the physical.